Will the White House use executive privilege to block the former FBI director from speaking out on its possible ties to Russia? The New York Times reporting today that Trump will not block Comey from testifying, but he could still change his mind, and it would not be the first time. Joining us now is Andrew Shapiro, former Assistant Secretary of State for Political Military Affairs. Thanks so much for joining us today. I wanted to move on to that question. What is that idea? We're getting conflicting reports about using executive privilege in terms of what the White House wants to do, and then we can move on here in terms of what they can do. What's your thought, Andrew, in terms of what they may do?
Well, I think initially they're not looking forward to the Comey testimony. Comey, as you may recall, gave dramatic testimony during the Bush administration about the efforts of the Bush administration to force this continuation of an intelligence program. So he's a very compelling witness, and they're not looking forward to that testimony. At the same time, trying to block it may not accomplish what they want. It may be a Pyrrhic victory if they were to try and block it. It's unclear that they have the legal basis to block it. And at the end of the day, if they were to try and block it and he testified anyway, it would give that much more credence to what he is going to be saying.
I want to move into something that definitely is in your wheelhouse here, quote unquote, and that is Vladimir Putin. And we were listening to some of Megyn Kelly's interview with him throughout the day. You may have heard of some of it. And during the panel section, it sounded like Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump had similar logic on why Donald Trump won and Hillary Clinton lost. And some folks are putting one and one together and saying these two seem to have the same sheet of music.
Yes, well, as you know, Putin supported Trump's ideas during the campaign about developing a better relationship with Russia. So he was pleased by Trump winning because he thought it would serve Russia's national interests. And so when Donald Trump goes to NATO and it doesn't reaffirm Article 5, Vladimir Putin likes hearing that. At the same time, Donald Trump wants to distance himself from any idea that the Russians played a role in his election as undermining his legitimacy. So they have a common interest in trying to downplay the role that Russia may have played in the election.
Yeah, some might say, and I was trying to express that idea earlier based on the way he was saying what happened with the election, that they are, quote unquote, working together. And of course, we have no proof of that at all. And that's the very question that is ongoing when it comes to the special counsel. For instance, Special Counsel Mueller, he has reportedly widened those that he is looking into for his investigation. Paul Manafort has been mentioned, also the Attorney General's office, including the Attorney General. That has also been reported. Well, if any of this comes out to be true, what does that tell you about what the special counsel is doing right now in his investigation?
Well, from the public reporting, and obviously we don't know all the strands of the investigation Bob Mueller is pursuing, but from the public reporting, it looks like he's trying to tie in all the various strands of the investigation through his special counsel office. This is a very complicated investigation with a lot of different factors, and he wants to see the entire picture and see where connections might exist. So he's bringing the Flynn investigation into his investigation, the Manafort investigation, so he'll have a complete picture of all these various strands and how they tie together.
And one thing that this will also mean, if the reporting turns out to be correct, is the extension of time required will also increase theoretically.
This is going to be a very complicated investigation. We shouldn't expect that it's going to happen overnight. Typically, special counsel investigations can take up to 18 months, if not longer. So this is something that is going to go on for some time and possibly could impact the 2018 elections.
It most likely will. Andrew Shapiro, former Assistant Secretary of State, that's your title. You know D.C. well. What does all this mean then when we look at Comey and the fact that he no longer sits in that seat called FBI Director, and the reporting saying that it's been somewhat tumultuous in terms of identifying his replacement in D.C. When you are missing the FBI Director, what does that mean for the intelligence community?
Well, they have an acting director, and the current acting director, Andrew McCabe, is a well-respected FBI official. But at the end of the day, I think that the Trump administration knows that this is going to be a highly scrutinized choice. So they are looking to try and make that choice properly. But it's also, as we've seen again and again, the Trump personnel process has been disorganized. So it's not surprising that this personnel process is going through the same bumps that we have seen before.
Yeah, we were hearing reporting it was going to be earlier. Clearly that has not happened. Andrew Shapiro, thank you so much.